Woke ESPN at it again. My God, ESPN sometimes just makes me cringe. The only time I watch ESPN is for a UFC fight that I want to see, the NBA, Monday Night Football. That's it. And really, those things are more out of necessity because I can't get it anywhere else. If I could, I would refuse to watch ESPN altogether. But sometimes, it's a necessary evil. I don't watch any of the opinion shows on ESPN. I don't watch Sports Center. Judging by the ratings, I'm not alone. It seems like a lot of people have abandoned ESPN. Over the last, I don't know, 5 years, ESPN has started to cater to the sports bettors. When I started betting on sports as a teenager, it was considered taboo, illegal. But just like with weed, sports betting has become acceptable, even mainstream. It's legal in most of the country. So ESPN has started to cater to the millions of people that bet on sports. They bring in handicappers, which, let me just say this real quick. I'm sure there are a lot of you guys in my audience that like to bet on sports, have fun with it. So I'm going to share some information with you that you would never hear on ESPN or any other mainstream show on TV or radio. These handicappers, I, I shouldn't even call them that. These touts that you see on television or that you hear on the radio, these so called sports betting experts, that is a myth. That is a lie. It's not real. There is no such thing as a sports handicapper or an expert in sports betting. Let me tell you why. And I'm more than qualified to talk about this. I run an online sports book. I've been involved in sports gambling for over 20 years, so I know what the hell I'm talking about. There is no such thing as a sports handicapper. They like to go on the air and tell you they have an edge on this game and stuff like that. The only people with the edge is the sports book. They may call themselves handicappers, but that's only to take your money. It's marketing. They want you to buy their plays. 1% of people who gamble on sports win money over the long term. And those professional gamblers, they would never sell the public their plays. The odds makers set these lines to lure you in. At the book, when we get heavy action on one side, almost 90% of the time, we win and make a lot of money. Let me give you a real life example of what I'm talking about. The Super Bowl this year is a perfect example. 90% of the bets that we took at the book were on the Chiefs and the over. Chiefs -3, over 56. The Bucks won the game 31-9. Covered the line, went under. The same thing happens all the time in the NBA, especially in the playoffs. Anytime the majority of our players load up on one side, we stand to make a ton of money. This is by design. A sports book exists to take your money. It's as simple as that. Now, do odds makers set lines sometimes so that the players can win? Of course. Otherwise, you would quit playing. We want to have weeks where we lose $20,000, $30,000 because the next week, you're going to give it all back. And then you're going to dig in your pocket and give us more. There is a reason a sports book has never went bankrupt. So with all that out of the way, let's get to Kelly in Vegas, another so-called handicapper that has made a name for herself in the sports betting industry. She really has. I've followed her on Twitter for years. She's a beautiful woman. She knows how to talk sports too. She really does. I wouldn't follow her plays or pay for them because, like every other sports bettor I know, over the long term, she loses. But she has made a nice career for herself in the sports gambling industry. She's entertaining. I have nothing but love for Kelly in Vegas. She was recently offered and accepted a job at ESPN, which I'm sure in hindsight, she is instantly regretting. The reason I say that, Kelly in Vegas is not woke. Matter of fact, she's more like you and I. She has common sense. You'll see why I say that in just a second. ESPN hired her to host a sports betting show, filmed in Las Vegas. She would also make appearances on SportsCenter, ESPN Radio, the usual stuff when you're an on-air personality at ESPN. But before she could even get her feet off the ground, ESPN fired her. Why? Oh, the usual woke reasoning, the usual cancel culture nonsense. Someone found some stuff that she put on Twitter where she's calling people fags, homo. I believe the woke term would be anti gay or homophobic slurs. I think that's what they call it. They found these tweets from 9 years ago. 9 years ago. 2012. Really? Are we really doing this again? Someone makes a mistake 9 years ago when she was in her 20s, and we're going to make that mistake follow her for the rest of her life? Oh, but ESPN says that wasn't the only reason they had to fire her. You see, Kelly in Vegas, she was also a COVID denier. A capital offense when you're dealing with wokers. God forbid you have common sense and refuse to listen to guys like Anthony Fauci, who I refuse to call a doctor because he hasn't practiced medicine in 40 years. Kelly in Vegas attacked Andrew Cuomo on Twitter and went on to say that we were lied to about the severity of the COVID. Seems about right to me, unless you're a believer of woke propaganda. I think we can all agree that there was a massive overreaction to COVID, led by the wokest of the woke, Adam Silver in the NBA. Here's my problem, though, with this when it comes to ESPN. Well, one problem I have is I have a problem with them firing this poor woman for something that she said damn near a decade ago. I'm pretty sure ESPN promotes the hell out of LeBron James, who threatened the life of a police officer on Twitter not even a month ago. But that's okay, because LeBron is woke. Wokers stand together. But this is my other problem. If ESPN didn't want to be associated with Kelly in Vegas, that's okay, that's fine. It's their company. They can hire or associate themselves with whomever they want. It's their right. But if that's the case, why didn't they do a background check on her before they hired her and went public with the announcement? Is there that much incompetence over at ESPN? It is not hard to find stuff like this on Twitter or the internet. A simple search was all ESPN had to do, and all of this could have been avoided. Instead, they hire Kelly in Vegas. Then they proceed to humiliate her by publicly firing her. They publicly fire her for a mistake from 9 years ago. I'm pretty sure that ESPN still employs Stephen A. Smith. Hell, he's the face of the network. He makes mistakes all the time. He makes mistakes in the present. He's the ultimate race baiter. Anytime a white person gets an opportunity in sports, Stephen A. claims it's because of white privilege. I'm pretty sure Stephen A. also calls people names on the air all the time. I'm positive that he has used the N-word on the air several times over the years. Now, what's the difference in him doing that and what Kelly in Vegas did 9 years ago? There's really not much of a difference, unless you're woke, of course. Now, I'm not saying that Stephen A. Smith should be fired. I'm just saying that ESPN should treat these things equally. Equality. Isn't that what ESPN and all of these wokers are supposedly fighting for? Equality? Yeah, they're only about equality when it fits their woke agenda. Was Kelly in Vegas wrong back in 2012 with what she said? Yeah, she was. But I understand where she was coming from. She is attacked relentlessly on social media, especially Twitter, which has become a cesspool for all things woke. There's only so much a person can take. After a while, you get frustrated, you get angry, and it's human nature to fight back. Unfortunately for Kelly in Vegas, she's a public figure. So Travis, living in his grandmother's attic, he can go on Twitter and call Kelly a slut, a whore, whatever name that you want to come up with, and he can get away with it because no one gives a damn about Travis or what he has to say. But when Kelly in Vegas responds in kind, she loses an opportunity 9 years later. Kelly in Vegas is the victim here, but I do have one problem with how she handled this. After being fired from ESPN, she issued the standard public apology. Why? What are you apologizing for? That's what the wokers want. You on your knees apologizing. You were defending yourself. Could you have not used anti-gay slurs? Yes, sure. But there's only so much a person can take. It's not fair that these bums can tear her down personally, call her anything they want, and for Kelly in Vegas not to be able to defend herself. This cancel culture has to stop. This is one of the reasons I refuse to watch ESPN. You are only allowed to be on the air at ESPN if you agree to speak woke propaganda. There are no dissenting opinions at ESPN. Only woke opinion is allowed. I believe that's the problem that most people have. I have some troll that has been commenting on my videos lately. He's one of the wokers that say I'm trash, I'm uninformed, I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm racist, he can't stand my voice, yet he watches every one of my videos. The other day, he said, I only have a problem with politics and sports because I don't agree with woke politics. That's not true, or maybe just partially true. I have a problem with politics and sports because, one, politics don't belong in sports, and two, the politics in sports are biased. Hell, it's more biased than CNN and MSNBC. At least CNN and MSNBC put conservative pundits on the air some of the time. And I'm not even a damn conservative. I'm more liberal than conservative. But I can't get with the wokeness. And my main problem with ESPN is that they are so biased. If Kelly in Vegas wore a mask every day, had a mask on her little Twitter emoji or whatever they call that thing, if she flew a rainbow flag in her front yard, identified herself as a non-binary quad-sexual, maybe she even used proper pronouns, then she would still be working at ESPN. But because her opinions are different, because she's not woke, she lost her gig. I hope it's the best thing that will happen to her. I think she dodged a bullet. It's a good thing she was fired by ESPN. All they were going to do is tell her what she could and couldn't say anyway. Now she can continue to say whatever the hell she wants, which is how it's supposed to be in this country. There's a reason the founders of this country made the First Amendment freedom of speech. The wokers are trying to stifle that freedom because they know if they stifle free speech, they can take over. All right, what do you guys think of ESPN hiring and then immediately firing Kelly in Vegas over tweets from 9 years ago? Do you think this is another example of woke hypocrisy? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.